So in this video, October 30th, 2024, you can see this Hellfire missile bounce off of this UAP. And this is just insane. It looks like a little bit of debris or maybe just heat kind of comes off as the Hellfire hits. It shifts the orb slightly, but it doesn't blow it up and knock it out of the sky. So this is like nothing that's ever been seen before. And in today's video, I'm going to be breaking down what potentially happened in this clip, as well as some additional clips. So stay to the end of the video to get my perspective on exactly what we're seeing here and what this might mean for military tech and the future of military power moving forward. This is a groundbreaking moment with this UAP showing that it can deflect one of the best missiles in the inventory of the United States. A deadly missile that has been used for decades to strike terrorists, to strike insurgents, to do strategic strikes. Just ask the Tren de Aragua group that was in a boat that was trying to take drugs from Venezuela to the United States. Ask them if the Hellfire missile works. We'll be diving into all of that throughout this video. And that video was on October 30th, 2024 off Yemen's coast. That US MQ-9 drone locked onto that glowing orb and it unloaded that Hellfire missile. Boom! Direct hit. And then, as we saw, nothing. The missile bounces off and the UAP cruises on just like it's mocking that Hellfire. Hey Hellfire, nice try. On September 9th, 2025, Congress dropped this jaw-dropping footage in a House hearing, rocking the Pentagon to its core. Today we're ripping into the mission that broke physics, the explosive UAP hearings, and 3 insane stories about what this thing likely is and why one of the US's deadliest weapon, the Hellfire missile, failed to take it down. Plus, I'll be reacting to a chilling 2023 video from Chief Wiggins from the USS Jackson that shows a self-luminous tic-tac object bursting from the ocean and rejoining with multiple other drones. Just insane. Buckle up, my friends, because we're diving into the latest UAP tech and what we're seeing unfold right before our eyes. I'll use my experience as a former F-15E combat fighter pilot and F-16 Thunderbird pilot to give you all the knowledge I have from an unclassified perspective about the weapons, projectiles, missiles that are used to take down other craft when you're flying around the sky in a long-range dogfight, close-in dogfight, or any type of engagement where you're trying to take down an object, just like what we saw here. So stay to the end of the video for my full fighter pilot reaction. I'm excited you're here. Let's dive in. So let's first tear into the mission that has changed the game, the Hellfire mission, a high-stakes takedown that has essentially gone wrong. It was October of 2024. Yemen's coast is a war zone. Houthi rebels backed by Iran are hammering international shipping in the Red Sea and Gulf of Aden with drones and missiles. Riding the chaos of the Israel-Hamas conflict, things are heating up. The U.S. military under Operation Prosperity Guardian is locked in to secure trade routes, essentially like a high-stakes bouncer at a club. The U.S. is telling the Houthi rebels, no more taking down these shipping routes. The U.S. Air Force leads the charge, flying MQ-9 Reaper drones from bases like Creech in Nevada. These drones would be taking off from some sort of clandestine base in the region, but they're operated from drone operators at Creech Air Force Base in Nevada, just outside of Las Vegas. So you're playing blackjack during the day, and then you're doing CIA-level strikes at night. No big deal. But what is their mission? It's a real-time intelligence, surveillance, and precision strike potentially to stop Houthi attacks before they hit ships or U.S. forces. On October 30th, 2024, in those hostile skies, something weird shows up. A glowing, car-sized orb zipping through restricted airspace. No wings, no engines, no heat signature, just raw, deliberate motion, hanging out. I'm just here to party. No big deal. Don't mind me. The Pentagon calls it the UAP of the century. This isn't a fuzzy radar dot. It's acting like it owns the place. So let's do a quick mission breakdown. So the Air Force deployed 2 MQ-9 Reapers. Those are unmanned killing machines that are loaded with the AGM-114 Hellfire missile. 100 pounds of a big swinging you-know-what. And that beast is built to shred tanks with laser-guided high-explosive warheads. Nothing survives a Hellfire. Well, until now. I guess we can't say that anymore. Here's how it went down. So drone 1, the tracker drone, locks the UAP with its ANAAS-52 multispectral targeting system. Now, if that's not a mouthful, I don't know what is. And this thing can target license plates from maybe 10 to 15 miles away in an unclassified number. It could be even more than that. But it's using high-def cameras, infrared, and laser rangefinders that can spot a target miles out, day or night. And drone 2 is the shooter. This is a typical laze and shoot tactic that's used by fighter jets as well. So when I was flying in combat, sometimes we would have a jet that wasn't masked by mountains that was shining the laser on a target, and then the other aircraft that might have their laser masked by mountains can set up for the actual drop itself and not worry about keeping their laser on the target. All you have to do is make sure that both jets have the same laser code. So a laser code for the weapon that's on the jet or the drone that's actually releasing the weapon, and then the laser in the aircraft that's lasing it in has to be tuned to that exact code. So you do a few different checks prior to the release to make sure you're all set up and everything is good to go. But in this case, the Hellfire screamed through the sky at Mach 1.3, about 1,000 miles per hour. The laser is locked onto the orb and the operators brace for a fireball. Then bam, impact. The UAP, it shrugs it off like the alien mothership in Independence Day. It just eats a nuke for breakfast, essentially. No explosion, no debris. The orb takes the hit. Maybe it scuffs it a little bit like we talked about, with a little bit of energy or heat, potentially a little bit of debris, and it just keeps rolling like it's on a joyride, and it looks like a you-know-what in sweatpants. Everybody's just like, yeah, that's pretty obvious that it didn't affect this UAP at all. So let's step back and break down the tech a little bit. The MQ-9 Reaper is a $30 million Predator. It's controlled via satellite from Creech Air Force Base, half a world away. Its secure SATCOM links let pilots and sensor operators run the show in real time. The Hellfire's laser guidance is surgical. It doesn't miss. This was a clean shot, and the UAP just didn't give a damn. And it looks like it's not a glitch in the Hellfire missile either. This is just something that we haven't ever seen before. After the strike, the mission logs go dark. Operators are stunned. The UAP slips into the night, leaving the Pentagon with a gut punch and no answers. This wasn't a failed shot necessarily. It was a wake-up call of epic proportions. Yeah, our missiles don't actually work on something. Maybe we should just stop everything we're doing and figure out why. And that's why it's led straight to Capitol Hill with these House UAP hearings, and finally the truth has broken free with this video. On September 9th, 2025, the House Oversight Subcommittee on UAP Transparency and Whistleblower Protection kicks off. Rep. Eric Burleson from Missouri dropped this Hellfire video itself, and it hit like a live grenade. So here's what happened. Here's some key takeaways from the hearing. The video is obviously the star. That Hellfire video coming down is making everybody's jaw drop. Journalist George Knapp, a UAP bloodhound for decades, he drops a bombshell. The Pentagon's got a vault of these locked away. So there's many more epic videos, not just this one. I would love to see what some of those show, because they might even be more dramatic than what we're seeing here. There are servers where there's a whole bank of these kinds of videos that Congress has not been allowed to see, is what George Knapp releases at the hearings. Then the witnesses start to step up. Air Force veteran Jeffrey Nusatelli recounts a 2003 incident at Vandenberg Air Force Base. He's on duty when all hell essentially breaks loose. Over the radio, he says, "It's coming right at us. It's a red square-shaped UAP that buzzes the base, then vanishes in a blink." Navy Senior Chief Alejandro Wiggins talks about a Tic-Tac UAP that has no engines, no wings, just impossible speed. And then Air Force veteran Dylan Borland chimes in, backing up everybody. All three are asked if the Hellfire video freaks them out, and their answer is a stone cold, yeah. Could you imagine if someone wasn't freaked out by that? That's when we really got to think they're a serial killer. And then Rep. Anna Paulina Luna goes for the jugular. Is there anything in the U.S. arsenal that can eat a Hellfire missile and keep going, is what she asks. Nusatelli and Wiggins don't blink. No, not ours, is what they say. And then they add on, not Russia's, not China's, nothing. The hearing ends with lawmakers demanding the Pentagon's secret UAP files, wanting to know why a missile that can flatten a bunker got swatted away like a harmless little fly. Yeah, we should all probably know why that happened. The hearings didn't solve the mystery, but they proved the UAP problem is real and it's serious. So what was that orb actually? Was it just some genius kid building a cloaked orb in his garage? Probably not, but that kid would be pretty epic. But let's get wild and break down 3 possibilities, 3 hypothetical scenarios, what that UAP could have been. So we don't know exactly what it was, but I want to game out these 3 scenarios that are based on evidence. Each one could explain why the Hellfire bounced off, and each one's essentially crazier than the next. So let's strap in. So in this hypothesis, the UAP is extraterrestrial and it's rocking tech that we can't touch. The shield absorbs or redirects the Hellfire's kinetic energy, maybe even converts it to fuel the UAP. Can you imagine that? It absorbs that 1,000-mile-per-hour energy from the Hellfire, and it's like, thank you, my batteries are recharged. I feel like I just had a spa day. Thank you, Hellfire. The reason why it fits is that there's no damage, there's essentially no debris. Again, looks like just some heat signature coming off of the UAP. So alien tech or something from out of this world might be able to do that. And here's why it's terrifying. If ET's got shields that make Chuck Norris jealous, we're essentially playing in the wrong league. They've changed the entire game. They're playing 4D chess, so they're using some sort of plasma weaponry or plasma shields, while we're just sitting back using these Stone Age missiles that use rocket propulsion. Things have completely changed if this is from another world. Now let's talk about scenario 2, which would be advanced human tech. This is our tech in this case, a DARPA black project, so classified that even Congress is completely clueless. Picture a drone with a skin like Tony Stark's Iron Man suit, tanking missile strikes like it's just another day in Tony Stark's life. The Hellfire's energy gets scattered by a metamaterial lattice we haven't declassified. Here's why it fits. The US has a history of secret projects. Think the SR-71 Blackbird. It's unveiled decades later, and here's why it's terrifying. If the Pentagon's hiding tech that outdoes Stark's armor, what else do they have? What else could they have that they're not telling us about? But there could be a good reason why they're not telling us, and that could be to keep it away from places like Russia and China. If they completely expose this technology, now Russia and China know it's there, and it's essentially a UAP extraterrestrial technology arms race. Let's talk about scenario 3, which would be a non-physical entity, and this is the essential wild card of the whole video. If the UAP isn't a physical object, what if it's a projection, a hologram, or some sort of interdimensional glitch? The Hellfire kind of passes through because there's essentially nothing to hit. In the video, it does look like it hits something a little bit, but let's say it completely passed through and there's nothing to hit. That would be just like an image. It would be like Neo stopping bullets in the Matrix with a flick of his wrist. No big deal. But witnesses like Wiggins saw no propulsion signatures and the Vandenberg UAP vanished instantly. So here's why it fits. It explains the missile's failure and the UAP's impossible move. It's terrifying because it means you could be dealing with something that could rewrite reality itself. Maybe it's here sometimes and then decides not to be here when a Hellfire is shot at it. There's just so many unknowns that it definitely makes this a wild card. So each of these scenarios raises bigger questions and answers. Is it alien tech, secret human projects, or something not even physical? One thing's definitely clear to me though. Whoever makes the Hellfire missile is now sitting back going, what the f? So let's say there's some sort of shield tech that can protect objects from Hellfires. What could the shield tech do in action? And this might be the most important part of the video. If the UAP's shield-like properties are real and replicatable, imagine the missions it could pull off. We're talking ops that could redefine warfare and exploration, but it's a double-edged sword. Game-changing for the USA, but catastrophic if enemies get it as well. Let's talk about a few hypothetical missions. We'll start with a deep enemy penetration mission. So picture a US drone with this UAP's shield tech slipping deep into hostile territory, shrugging off anti-air missiles and SAMs, just like Master Chief's armor in Halo. Any Halo fans out there, you know what I'm talking about. Its energetic particle field could eat plasma fire by absorbing and dissipating the bolt's energy, kind of like what this UAP might have done with the Hellfire. But in Halo lore, plasma weapons shred shields faster than bullets, overloading the emitters with intense thermal and kinetic force. So if this UAP's shield works like Halo, a plasma-based weapon could collapse it. Yeah, I get it. I'm comparing this to a video game. But at this point, guys, we don't have a lot more options. But if that plasma weapon could collapse it, it would leave the craft vulnerable. For the USA, this means that some tech could be untouchable for recon in places like North Korea or Iran that could save lives and flip conflicts. But if adversaries like China or Russia weaponize plasma tech to exploit the weakness, their shielded drones could infiltrate essentially anywhere, including the US, and that's probably not something we want. I mean, a balloon is one thing, but a shielded drone that's only susceptible to plasma energy, yeah, we might not want that flying through our airspace. Mission 2 could be some sort of a space debris defense to protect humanity. And bear with me on this one, but a shielded satellite or spacecraft could plow through debris fields at hypersonic speeds. Micrometeorites, no big deal, no problem. It's like Brick Tamlin and Anchorman.
Rick, where'd you get a hand grenade? I don't know.
That's what these UAPs could do if they have this shield as they're flying through deep space. This tech would absorb impacts, keeping comms and GPS rock solid. This could be good for the USA because unbreakable space assets mean that dominant military comms and supply lines in space wars could remain intact. And I got it, we're talking about space wars, but at this point, after seeing this Hellfire bounce off this UAP, essentially nothing is off limits, guys. But it's bad if adversaries have it. They could weaponize space, wiping out unshielded satellites while theirs endure. That would leave the US blind in some sort of a crisis. Now let's talk about Mission 3. I like to call this one the nuclear bunker buster. So think of a shielded probe that dives into enemy bunkers. It ignores blasts and radiation. It maps underground networks or drops EMPs, electromagnetic pulses, from the inside of a strategic location. The USA could win because precision strikes on hidden WMDs without nuking any civilians. Think if Iran essentially got WMDs and you could send one of these orbs in and just release an EMP inside of their bunker. Again, the B-2 pilots wouldn't like this because of job security. They want to drop those 30,000-pound bunker buster bombs. But this could be a much more lethal weapon to a WMD, a weapons of mass destruction program, than anything that we've seen before. But it could also be used to shield nukes or submarines, and that could make deterrence essentially obsolete, and it could push global threats to apocalyptic levels unless essentially everybody had these shields on their subs and nuclear weapons. So that tech could lock the USA into dominance, but in the wrong hands, it could turn strengths into weaknesses. So as you can see, the stakes with a technology like this are incredibly high. All right, now I'm going to react to that bombshell video of Chief Alejandro Wiggins aboard the USS Jackson on February 15th, 2023 off of Southern California. So as you can see, he's tracking what he says has a solid light, and this orb emerged from the ocean and then rejoins with multiple other orbs. Usually if there's anything in our inventory that is going to be airborne, it's either going to have flashing lights or it's going to have no lights at all. Flashing lights when you're in peacetime to keep from running into other peacetime aircraft, and then no lights on at all when you're in combat. But he says that this orb has a solid light, and you can see him here tracking this object. It looks like nothing else he's ever seen before, and then the fact that it rejoins with multiple other drones after leaving the ocean shows that there is some sort of ability of this thing to form a swarm. So there are potential technologies from DARPA in the past that are essentially eggs that are on the bottom of the ocean. They're drones that hatch from those eggs. They make their way to the surface and then they rejoin and execute a mission. So could this be something like that? Could this be some sort of tech that the US has? Certainly, but could it be similar to the UAP that deflected the Hellfire? It seems to have a similar shape, seems to move in a similar way. And again, there's zero splash, no wake, and it seamlessly rejoins three identical objects in formation. They hover, they sync up, and then poof, they're gone without a trace. But here's the big thing, guys. No propulsion signature. So you know I like Max Afterburner. You know I like that big afterburner plume coming out of the jets. But with, I guess, what we're calling now worldly aircraft, you have to have that afterburner to push you forward. But these unworldly objects don't have any propulsion signature, and they hit impossible speeds. So this screams some sort of transmedium tech craft that can dominate air and sea, maybe using plasma fields for propulsion and shielding, and that ties right into our energy shield scenario. If it's ours, it's a black project that's revolutionizing naval warfare. If it's alien, we're dealing with visitors who treat oceans like they're superhighways. Either way, this footage proves that UAPs aren't just sky threats, they're everywhere, and we might be a little bit more behind than we thought. So what's next? The Hellfire bouncing off of that UAP, it's not just the next viral clip, it's a warning shot and something that should be a wake-up call. It definitely is for me, flying aircraft out in the airspace, knowing that there's something up there that can't be taken down with a Hellfire. Definitely makes me think a little bit more than I did before. And Congress is demanding answers. Witnesses are spilling secrets and the Pentagon's on notice. Are we alone? Are we outmatched? Or are we just scraping the surface of a truth that's essentially too big to swallow? Drop your theories in the comments below. I want to know what you think this UAP was. Let me know in the comments below. And the best compliment you can give the channel, guys, is just watch this video right here. When you watch this video right here, it helps the channel grow a ton. The algorithm loves it, and I would just greatly appreciate it. You're helping the channel grow like crazy, and it means a lot to me. Thank you very much. So I'll see you on this video right here. This is Ryan, also known as Max Afterburner, also known as the fighter pilot next door, signing off.